It is the 22nd of March 2015, and we're back to some kind of normality. This is a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego, with myself, Leonard Sultana. I've got my cup of tea, and I'm back in the place with some decent Wi-Fi, because last week we tried doing this from London Super Comic Con, and it went okay. Listen, I think it went longer than I actually thought it would. I was expecting everything to tank really, really quickly, but we got about 45 minutes out of it, and I hope you enjoyed our show from London Super Comic Con last week. It is 15 weeks to San Diego Comic Con. It is 107 days away from day one on the Thursday, and this is our weekly show where we talk all news Comic-Con. Although I was just saying that that's what the introduction was going to be all about, and Michael has just said, tell you what, let's just scrap all of that. Let's just talk about anything other than Comic-Con. So, okay, for the next hour, I'm going to be talking sheep farming. I believe Michael wants to discuss ballet. What would you like to talk about, Alyssa? Is there anything not Comic-Con?
Theater in Japan.
Japanese
theater.
Is that kabuki?
I'm not sure.
Have I got the name right?
There's lots of different kinds of theater in Japan. There's the drum stuff, and there's kabuki, and there's...
In that case, we're going to do all sorts of shadows and get some silk screen out. We're not going to talk about Comic-Con this week. Forget it. We've decided we've had enough.
Now we've lost all of our viewers.
Yeah. No, strangely enough, we've just gone from 1 to 6 in that space of time. That's ridiculous. We do usually get more than that's fine. We get a fair few. Listen, if you are joining us live, thank you very much indeed. If you're watching via the Google Plus Hangout, that is probably the best way to interact with us, of course. Jump in on the Q&A. Ask any questions at all that you would like to talk about Comic-Con, especially when it comes to the hotel sale. Is there a favorite hotel that you're aiming for on Tuesday? Is there pros and cons to downtown and staying a little further afield? Jump in with any of your comments, head to the Q&A, and do let us know what you're thinking. And of course, if you want to tweet us, we are paying attention to the hashtag #CupOTSDCC. We would love to hear from you. Any comments that you want to throw our way, please do. We are going to be talking primarily about the general hotel sale that is scheduled to go live on Tuesday. But we'll get to that after we've done a bit of an introduction. Let's go through our guests. We've got ourselves, my regular partner in crime. We've got Alyssa Franks. Hello, Alyssa.
Hello. How are you, Leonard?
I'm fine, thank you. I would like to say a very big thank you for all of your efforts last week, because without you, we wouldn't have had 5 minutes worth of a show. You did very well.
You're welcome. I was a little embarrassed by not being as adept at hosting as you are, and hats off to you for the great job that you've done hosting.
I take my hat off as well, but I'm show the ball patch, so I won't bother with that again. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Alyssa. We'll come back to what we've been talking about on the forum in a second, but let's also introduce another guest, someone we haven't had on the Hangout for a while. Hello, Michael. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Good afternoon. It's nice late on Sunday, later for you.
Yeah, indeed.
Everything's well. Just gearing up for Tuesday. For me personally, I take the day off, and before they announced the date, I told my boss, all right, I'm gonna either need the 24th or the 1st, and I'll tell you when I know. And he's like, okay. And then I saw like on Friday that the emails were coming out, or that they announced on Friday. I think it was Friday that they said the tickets, the hotels were going to be on this coming Tuesday. So I immediately went into my office. Okay, I'm taking this Tuesday off.
That's preparation for you. I like your initiative, sir. Excellent. So this is Michael Leventhal who's joining us. It's great to have him back. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Once again, do jump in with any questions on the Q&A. Let us know where you're watching from, and of course, it's completely interactive. Now, tell you what, so much so, we're going to try something. This is supposed to be kind of like a round table discussion show where anyone can come in with any of their comments. We're going to invite you onto the Hangout now. Okay, this could go horribly wrong, or this could go really well. We'll find out what happens. Listen. My Twitter account is Englishman SDCC. what you can do is follow me and send me a direct message. Let me know if you would like to jump in on the Hangout. If you have a Google Plus account or if you have a Gmail account, send me your Gmail address. Let me know what you'd like to talk about, and we'll invite you into the Hangout. It's a round table. It's a fully interactive thing. We would love to have you jump in if you want to. Tweet me at Englishman SDCC with a direct message. Let me know your Gmail account or your email address. We'll invite you into the Hangout, and we'll have you join us live. I think that's one way to have a bit of interaction here on the Hangouts. I think
sounds like a wonderful experiment.
Listen.
Do you ever watch Talking Dead?
Yes.
I'm just afraid of that one episode where the guy calls in and he's like, "You will all die," and then they're like, "Oh no."
Yes, but thankfully, yeah, I have an idea of somebody of our regular viewers that would actually do that. But you know what? I think I know who they are, so I can kind of filter them before we start. So I think we're okay. I think we're safe. If you do want to jump in, though, yeah, Englishman SDCC, direct message me. So it's not out in kind of like in the open. Send me your Gmail address, and we'll invite you into the Hangout because we would love to have you join us, especially if you want to talk about general hotel sale. It is all scheduled for Tuesday. Like Michael said, he's absolutely right. It did get announced on Friday, as I discovered, because I work on a weekend as a DJ, and I was actually heading to a gig when that actually happened. It was so frustrating because I wanted to talk about the hotel sale, and I was distracted. I was working. It was really a shame. But it's all out there now. Everyone knows about it. It's going to be happening at 9 a.m. West Coast. It's going to be, now, someone's going to have to help me out with the times here. 9 a.m. West Coast, that's midday East Coast, and 4 p.m. GMT. So those are the times. Hopefully you should have received your email by now. I was keeping an eye on my inbox, and apparently, well, the email that got sent to me as a holder of a member ID was about an hour and a bit ago. So emails are going out. We have had one or two people mentioning that they've also spotted different link addresses, perhaps, to take you into the registration page. I don't know how we're going to kind of work this out, if you how to discuss this, but yeah, I think we'll try and cover that as well. I don't quite know how, because obviously we don't want to reveal the link out here in a public forum, because we have been requested to by CCI in the emails. But let's see if we can kind of work out if that's the case, because it may be a way for travel planners to kind of work traffic out. So you never know. Okay. If you're jumping in on the Q&A, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Hopefully we don't have any Howard Stern fans out there, says Bradley Goran. You know what? Bring it on. Come on. I'm down for I'm down for a challenge. Let's do it. Come on. Let's go. So yeah, if you want to jump in, like I say, you can direct message me on Twitter, Englishman SDCC, and yeah, we'll see and get you on the Hangout. So obviously, the main chat has been about the general hotel sale, but has there been any other conversation points out there, Alyssa?
I was ready to jump right into the hotel sales, or do you want to wait and do that later?
No, that's okay. We do that. I mean, straight away we've already had a comment. This is from Dan Berry, who's a good friend of ours and a regular watcher. Hello, Dan. I got 2 emails with 2 different subject lines. As did I. Yes, I got that as well. But it's more the link that's inside the email, and we're just trying to work out if that's the same link. But
I've got both of them up, and unless the spelling is wrong, and I'm looking, it looks to be, or a hyphen is out of place. It looks to be the same one to me.
Okay.
That they're using a slightly different address. I think last year they used a travel planner's address.
Yes, they did.
And now they're using a different one, which more rubber bandy. And if you've got the email, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because I don't want to put that out there.
Sure.
I suspect that has to do with the fact that they're worried about servers. and perhaps they hired they got a
third party.
Yeah, involved in it, just to give a little bit more.
I think everyone's just constantly learning the lesson about the sheer amount of traffic. I mean, the whole business with Ace parking, even just going to a lottery system to avoid everyone storming the gates in one go. It's it's just so many people at one time, and it's completely understandable that they're wanting to try and do something to kind of end that kind of flow. Okay, so if you want to jump into the hotel sale, then, if that's been the main topic of conversation.
Well, it has since the announcement came up. Japari, one of our forum members, put together an excellent guide, and I've got the link up there, Guide to Getting a Downtown Hotel. Highly, highly, highly recommend reading that and going over it if you haven't. In that walkthrough, there's also a link to an excellent video that Conshark put together that I think you know about.
Just very quickly, I think I've just noticed that at the top of the Q&A, Alyssa, I think there isn't a gap between the description and the HTTP, if you just want to repost that.
Yeah, I'll redo that link.
While you're doing that, I will. I'll talk about very quickly about the video. This was something that Sarah Merton put together off the back of the 2014 hotel sale. She recorded it about half an hour after the hotel sale had happened. So basically, she'd gotten her own hotel sale under her process out of the way before going back and recording some screen captures of the actual process. From all accounts and from everything we've read so far, the process that is described in that video is going to be the process that people will see on Tuesday. I have a question which may change that, but we'll come back to that in a second. We'll see if Alyssa brings it up as well.
Well, I think the idea here is that we go through the process.
Sure.
And the different techniques that people are using to get through the hotel application, and then we talk about what possibilities could occur.
Sure.
And I'll post a link up to the Conshark video because it is absolutely worth seeing, just like the video for the badge sale is worth seeing, just how it flows.
Sure.
In Japari's document is a test area, and I'm going to post this link to that. You can time yourself for getting through the document. That document that Japari posted is based on the 2014 form. We don't know what the 2015 form looks like, so we can't actually do that testing. What some people have done with that 2014 form is, if you're in Chrome, there is a way of setting up your autofill. And what autofill is, and everybody probably knows this already, but I'll go over it briefly, is when you type in your first name, how sometimes the forms will fill out other information for you. It's getting that fine-tuned so that it fills out the practice 2014 form, which might be wrong, correctly. So, how to get into your Chrome 2014 form was, if I recall correctly, and I'm in Firefox there, so let me go over here and do it in this one. I'm just walking through it. I probably should have done this the other way, but I didn't. I'm so sorry. Go down in Chrome, go down to Settings, then scroll down a little bit to Advanced Settings, and then you're going to want to look at, and you're going to scroll down a little bit farther, and just past passwords and just past privacy, you'll see a section called Passwords and Forms, and you want to make sure that the box is checked saying Enable Autofill. And then to the right of that, they'll also have manage autofill settings. So you'll be able to go in there and actually fill out the correct information. I found that to be really helpful so that I wouldn't have to go back into this practice form and fill out my last name.
Makes sense.
Yep. And well, not last tip, but one of the other tips is obviously make sure you know which hotels you want beforehand. And when in the practice form, they have the drop-down boxes, so I tab through my fields, and when I get to the hotel section, and that's highlighted. If you type in the first letter of your hotel, say you're going for the Hard Rock Hotel, type in H and then scroll down. You see,
and get to it that way.
Get to it that way, and you can do that quickly through there. Mike, I think that you're also doing a manual.
I am. A few other things. Actually, you could start typing more than just the first letter if you're quick enough. If you start typing like HI for Hilton or HA for Hard Rock, that will start getting you a little closer, and it's much quicker to start doing that when you're doing manual or even, through this.
Great.
Because you don't want to be scrolling, when literally minutes matter,
Seconds.
Second, yeah. My other piece of advice, personally, because I am doing manual, and maybe I'm wrong if either of you want to think, maybe I'm wrong, the spelling of, your address, the spelling of your name are less important than getting your email address right, because you could correct that after the fact. So, I mean, if you are doing manual like me and you're typing in your address, your name, don't go back and correct it. Just make sure your email address is right. Even if you have it copy and pasted, so when you get to the email address, you're just pasting that in and then retyping it. That's the more important issue, I think.
It makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
And then the second, after the hotels in the practice form is you start getting into the number of rooms. And the majority of people, I suspect, are selecting one room. So if you've tabbed through that and you type in one, the type of room, if you type in T for twin, that'll get you 2 double beds.
Mm-hmm.
But that also indicates only 2 people, which means two names that you need to fill in. You can always go back and add a 3rd person or a 4th person to your room later. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the second name that you put in can be literally your brother, your fictitious brother. It doesn't have to be who's actually going to be in the room, because you can go back and change that, and there's less possibility of it getting flagged for double booking, which has happened.
Sure. Okay. Some great tips, and you're absolutely right on a couple of those. Someone has just correctly pointed out, however, this is Scott Douglas. It's a new name to us, so hopefully if you are a first-time watcher, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Turning around and saying it's important to know that some hotels do start with the name San Diego. So if you're wanting, for example, the Marriott Marina, it's actually going to be coming under San Diego Marriott, which is absolutely right.
Yes.
Which is why I use the tab and arrow buttons. But I do that on a regular basis. Now is not the time to be learning a new technique on your keyboard. You go with what you know. So if it's easier and faster for you to click through with your mouse, click through with your mouse. But for me, tabbing and arrows would be the way to get. So I type in S, and then I would use my arrow key to scroll down to the San Diego Marriott.
Yeah. And I think another point is, CCI has already given us the hotel list, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the hotel list lists the way the name will appear or it did last year. At the very least, last year, the way that the name appeared on that hotel list is how it appeared on the drop-down menu. So if you want, you know, that San Diego Marriott Marquis, then it wasn't under Marriott Marquis last year. It was under San Diego Marriott Marquis, and I think it should flow this year again, you know, barring a drastic change.
Fair enough.
That makes sense.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Don't forget, if there are any other questions you have about the hotel sale, if there's anything that you want to ask in terms of hotels to aim for, perhaps, or if you have a recommendation for a hotel, if you want to put that down into the Q&A, if you want to head to the Google Plus Hangout, which we're broadcasting on, make a note. Tell us what hotels you've been staying at, and let us know if there's one that you would recommend or one that you would like to possibly tell people to avoid.
I tell everyone should go to the Mission Valley ones. You know, that's where you want to go. Don't ignore me.
That's mean. Okay.
Ignore me. I'm certainly not going for a downtown hotel. So everyone should be going for Mission Valley, and you know, don't worry about it. And you know.
You know what? I'm going to be serious for a second and say, don't diss the Mission Valley hotels. If anything, because they are, especially if you're heading on a budget, they're all being serviced by the shuttle service. Don't count them out, all right?
I will be honest. My last year's roommates used to do the Mission Valley, and they said they were very good. You know, the shuttle routes are still very useful for everyone. The shuttle routes do run, I think, 24 hours during the 4 days of the con itself. Mm-hmm. So I think CCI has made an effort to make sure that, you know, even the people who don't get downtown have a way to get to the show as easily as they can make it, you know, barring, you know, lots of traffic and whatnot.
True.
And I think it's a really good option for first-timers because, I mean, downtown with the expense and trying to find a roommate it puts an added pressure on the whole prep thing, and what with the schedules coming, you know, and all of the other stuff that's coming into play with regards to it, a low-pressure way in getting out of the city is a real useful thing for first-timers. So, yes, I'm all with you, Michael. Mission Valley.
Well, I mean, we've also had a comment from Dan Berry, who's turning around and saying, avoid the Omni.
I agree. Ignore the Omni. That's it. I agree.
So, if you want to know where someone's going to be staying, or attempting to be staying, there you go. There's a big clue for you right there. Excellent. Right, I wanted to ask a question, because this has come in to me on the Twitter. This came in a couple of days ago, and I wanted to put this out into this Hangout so we can put it out so if anyone else wanted to get this information. This was from Princess Charlie on Twitter, saying, I have a question about the hotel sale. Does the rate listed for 2 adults, 2 beds increase if you make it 4 adults, 2 beds? Now, I was under the impression that it's per room. In other words, you know, it's as many people as technically you can kind of fit in without getting caught and taking the rip. However, I just wanted to put that out because I know that Alyssa, I think you commented about this as well.
My understanding is that it's not, and that the prices can go up if you've got 4 people in the room. I think, if I recall correctly, with regards to hotels in the States, they assume that there's going to be 2 adults in the room. Kids are free. So if you start putting a 3rd and a 4th adult in a hotel room in the States, they charge you more money for it. That's my impression, and I think that that's what they do during the con too. So, plan accordingly.
Okay.
The rate you. Go ahead, Mike.
Michael.
I had 3 in my room last year, and based on the rate that they gave us, you know, it was maybe only an increase of $10, I think, for the extra person. So it's not like they all of a sudden make it like some astronomical amount. For me, or at least for the hotel I was in, the Omni, it was only an extra $10.
Don't pick the Omni.
Don't go to the Omni. No.
I'm starting to see a pattern forming there. Okay, so I mean, certainly when it says on the top of the form that prices start from, it does actually. It's small letters, but they're there. Yeah, I think what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying, Princess Charlie, on the Twitter. But I think there is going to be a price increase on that if you are wanting to try and get 4 people in that room. Okay.
One of the things that people have said is that you need to get, if you want a downtown hotel, you need to get your thing in within 30 seconds. So set your clock up. This is just basic stuff that's going through the guide, and what Joe Pari has said is you want to make sure your clock is synced.
Sure.
You want to make sure you've got all of the critical stuff into maybe a copy-paste doc so you can copy it over your email address, for example, if it's a long and complicated one. As I said, sync the clock, practice. We are going to be doing a hotel exchange, which the document again this year. Slight revisions to the document. Just basically, you've got to be a forum member, though.
This is friendsofcci.com/forum, by the way.
Yeah.
This is what Alyssa's mentioning about there. Right,
Yeah.
I've got a question then, and this is as myself, who hasn't. I do the condo thing when I go to Comic-Con, which means I kind of avoid this hotel sale bit, which I have done for a couple of years now. Now, you may have to clarify on this. In the past, to try and increase time, or decrease time, to try and get the form through as quick as possible, one of the tips used to be to just submit your top 2 choices and get in, get out, and get the form as quick as possible. One thing, the question I want to ask is, number one, on this year's information, it turns around and says that you have to pick 6 hotels. Is that new?
No.
That isn't new. That's been is that for
I was at least there in 2014.
Right. Okay. So there you go then. So you do have to have your 6.
You have to have 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Do go through the list. It's available on the CCI Comic-Con forum, which is comic-con org/hotels. No, get it right. /CCI/hotels. Do check out the link which takes you to the hotel page. Choose the hotels that you would like to go for, and like Alyssa and Michael have said, do your research and choose the ones that you want in advance. Don't just kind of pick 2 or 3 and then just hit 3 at random. Well, I don't know. That might work. Give it a go. Okay. Let's have a look at some of the comments that are coming in. Dan, who did mention or was asking about the To Me emails and possible 2 links, saying that my email reader shows 2 different URLs when mousing over the link. One is the same as the link, the other is a shortcut link. So it could be a traffic thing. They may be doing their best to kind of keep an eye on the traffic. Okay. Scott Douglas is saying, is it a first-time viewer? Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Also a frequent poster to Friends of CCI and met Alyssa last year. Recommendations for great balcony views. Is there any? Gaslamp or the Convention Centre, apart from the Marriott, my hotel for years. I would recommend the Hilton Gaslamp. I love the view from that particular hotel. I'm a fan. So that's one certainly for your balconies. Anyone else?
I've only had the same hotel. Yeah.
Which hotel is that, Michael?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh man. Okay.
Both years at the Omni, I actually had convention-facing rooms, so it was actually kind of nice because you could start seeing the line as it started to, get longer and longer. Or the night before, if you're not a camper, you could see the line, like the people camping out. I'm from the East Coast, so it's actually for me on Wednesday is very funny because Wednesday, like, I'll wake up early and for East Coast time, so it's I'm up very early, and I'll go in. The last 2 years, I've made it like a little thing. I'll go into the pool. There's an outside pool on a deck at the Omni, and I'll do a few laps, and then I'll start watching as the line gets a little longer and longer until I finally decide, all right, it's time to get in that line myself.
So then you just walk from the pool with your bathing suit on into the line.
That's exactly what happens.
That's a mental image I didn't need, but thank you very much indeed for that. Oh no, that makes sense. I mean, I know that I kind of when I started doing hotels, when I first started going to Comic-Con, I did try and get the balcony view, so you can kind of get an idea of the lines, but it gets a bit more expensive and a bit more awkward. We've had a question from Sarita_72 on the Twitters. Thank you very much indeed. If you have another person going with you, can you have them also try for hotels using different names and then change them later?
Yes.
There you go. Simple answer.
Yes. You can. What I think with our hesitation is that if you use the same name twice on a reservation, travel planners will get back to you and say, we've found the same name on 2 reservations. What do you want to do? And people being the way people are, people tend to get a little panicky that travel planners will cancel the wrong reservation, the reservation that the 2 people want, which is understandable. But I don't think that's ever happened. I haven't heard of a case of travel planners canceling a reservation because of a double booking of a name, as long as you get back to them within a certain time. So in theory, each of you could submit your applications, your two requests using your first name. So Mary uses hers and Jane uses hers, and then put down Mary Jones for her last name and Jane Smith for the other last name, and then figure out which one you want. So there's a number of different ways that you could do it, but both of you should be submitting, absolutely.
I'll say from my own perspective, last year, me and one of my roommates hit, and we used each other's names, and neither of us were contacted. I mean, so it could be hit and miss. It could just very well be who catches it, who sees it. At the time.
Absolutely, and that makes complete sense. So don't get hung up on the names that you put down, as long as you put down names, I think, is the bottom line.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed for that. Other questions, of course, either send them into CupOT SDCC on the hashtag, or indeed you can send us a message on the Q&A. If there's any more questions, we'll try and stay on air for at least another 20-odd minutes if you want to ask any questions. Okay. This is from Gary Quinn.
Can we talk about parking?
Not yet. Calm down, you. Grief, woman. We're still talking hotels for the moment. Okay, we've had a question from Gary. Thankfully, I've got my accommodation sorted, but the question that I've always wondered is, what should you do if you're not successful in the hotel sale? Excellent question. Personally, I would be heading to friendsofcci.com/forum, asking about hotel swaps, asking for anybody who has got hotel spaces available. I'd also be possibly looking into possible condo sharing, seeing if there's any condos left at this point. They will be rather sparse, but have a look. You never know. You may be lucky to find that one last room that's available in San Diego. Any other hints, perhaps? Any tips?
There is. We do have on the forum. We do have a roommate thread started, and I know that there are a number of people who are looking for people to help them with their condo. So that kind of dovetails into the condo thing that you were talking about. The other thing is, in the dock, there is a tremendous amount of people who are roommates, like Mike and his roommate. Both of them are trying for downtown hotel rooms. Maybe both of them will get them. That second room will get probably put onto the Google Doc that we're creating, and we'll open up probably, I would say, Wednesday afternoon. So the day after, since we all have 72 hours, travel planners have 72 hours to get back to us. We don't think that people will actually have the room to post on the dock until 2 or 3 days, 4 days later. So I expect that following weekend to be a pretty major time on the forum with regards to finding a hotel room.
Fair enough. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed for those comments. I'm just trying to dig this up because this is an interesting series of comments. This is from James Ormiston, who's watching. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, James. This is a travel planner's horror story. So, see where we go with this. I got my booking request in under a minute last year, and then travel planners promptly lost it. They refused to do anything until a certain time had passed, and then they said there was nothing they could do about it, not even when my choices pops up in resale. There is actually a second part to this. Bear with me a second. Let me see if I can find it, because he hasn't put it in one thing. Oh yeah. I've failed twice to get a hotel, and twice have had some of the helpful people on the UK group. He is a UK attendee. And the SDCC forum kindly giving a number of their reservations. Yeah, I mean, people will help where they can, especially if they do have a room available. Do check in with all the forums. There is absolutely people there who will help.
Which actually brings up a good point. Right when you're done hitting the submit button, take a print screen of your screen with your timestamp.
Great idea.
Screen captures. Great idea.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think with any of the Comic-Con sales, that's always a good suggestion as well, because with badge sales, with anything, just screen capture, yeah.
Travel planners, in my opinion, has got some challenges. And that's an understatement. They neglect to prioritize people in a way that's there. We say timestamp. I think their timestamp is within a minute. So somebody could get their stuff in 2 minutes, and somebody gets their stuff in 3 minutes. And I've had the person in 3 minutes get a downtown hotel room, and the person in 2 minutes get put out in Mission Valley, even though they were clearly before the other person. I've heard numerous reports of that. So I think it just is travel planners, and we just got to live with it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, can I bring up maybe a slightly controversial thing then, and I'll ask you. Well, no.
Why not? Go for it.
All right, I'm going to Gen Con for also. That's another show that's later in the month. The way they do their hotel, if you're not familiar, is actually kind of like CCI sells their tickets. What happens is you log onto the site, and there's a countdown. And it's random, and when the countdown finally gets to 0, you could book your hotel. So there are people who get a random early time, and then they're booking their hotels, and it's kind of it's real time. So it's like what's available is available. Then when you get to 0 and you're finally let in, and it's a mad dash to see what's still available. I mean, is that? Does that even the playing field? I personally like the mad dash for filling it out in a minute and a half and doing that personally, but just putting it out there.
I would hate for all of the hotel people to be going through what us parking people are going through currently.
You're determined to talk about parking, aren't you?
The random, as Michael was talking, the randomness of putting it into anything, the hotels or parking into a lottery system, when you're dealing with this crush of fans who want desperately to be downtown or to be under the convention center, is very frustrating because it takes the control away from us. And even Mike was saying he wants to be able to put the form in and to have it time stamped, because that means we have control over our own destiny. And everybody likes control.
Fair enough.
So,
okay,
there you go.
No,
It wasn't
that's your. That's okay. All right.
It wasn't about parking. It was just using parking as an illustration.
In a roundabout kind of way. No, we're getting. Listen, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Just give her the 10 minutes to vent, because she wants it. Come on, let's go, Leonard.
No, I'm giving it. We're getting there. Calm down. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. We've got comments coming in. We've got Deborah Lisnoff, who's turned around and saying Mission Valley will have rooms available even if they strike out in the hotel sale. Don't dismiss the Mission Valley hotels. They are. I personally feel at the end of the day, if you get a hotel of any type or shape or form in San Diego from Comic-Con or during the course of Comic-Con, be grateful, because it's just a lot of people going for these rooms. So don't. If you are determined for a downtown, don't just pin your hopes on it, because at the end of the day, just get a bed for the night. Okay, Sarita72, if I get the hotel I wanted, could I give my backup to another that needs it? Absolutely. If you head to the Hotel Exchange part of the Comic-Con forum, friendsofcci.com forum, absolutely they'll be doing that. Jerlev has gotten in contact saying, remember, the extra rooms will be available from tphousing.com on April the 8th. This will be the unbooked inventory. So there will still be options for that. Okay. Comments coming in regarding views. I know that was something. Dan Berry is turning around and saying, in 2013, my Omni room overlooked Petco Park and the concert at night. So he got a great view of the show and all the excitement that happened down there. Jim Watari, good friend of ours, thank you very much indeed for joining us, Jim. Manchester Grand Hyatt has great views. So there you go, there's a recommendation for those two. Indeed, Roshan Robinson is talking about Roshan. Have I pronounced that right? I thought I had. Go on then. What have I got wrong?
No. Just go right ahead, Rush.
Okay. I'll say Roshan.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. But he's just basically said it's still a raffle. Unfortunately, it's just so many people hitting the page at the same time. Let's see what else we've got. All right. This is from Scott again. Best advice for the infamous "if none of my specified hotels are available" section, i.e., book me into any available downtown hotel, shuttle route hotel, any available hotel. Advice for that?
I would suggest either of the two options, either the one that says any hotel or any hotel on the shuttle route, because that one waitlists you if you wanted a downtown hotel, whereas the first option says if I don't get a downtown hotel, just discard my request. Beyond that, I would say just one of those two options then.
I think it's the what I'm going back to again, that any option to just get you a bed for the night, just click for it.
Conshark didn't even weigh in on that one and just said it's a personal choice. The second one, to my mind, seems to be the best. Just make sure you're on the shuttle route. That seems to be the big thing. And so,
let's see if we've got any other comments. This is, I suspect, about the links. I don't know if we'll get any two email links. There's basically a conversation that's going on and asking whether it's for different member IDs and maybe one's forwarded. I'm going to have to do some research on this about links and what links people are getting, because I suspect it's a travel planner's third-party thing that they're trying to kind of dilute the traffic through various routers, perhaps. John Rob, or Joe Rob, Johrob, on a completely off-topic question, how often do we do this hangout? We're here every Sunday, just to let you know. This is our regular weekly show where we talk Comic-Con. However, we are going to be taking a 2-week break after WonderCon. So we're going to do a bit of regrouping and organising some special guests between when we come back and through to July. So watch this space. But no, we are here every week. And indeed, we're going to be here next week as we get ready for WonderCon. And then the week after, hopefully we're going to be having a live beam scheduled in kind of thing from WonderCon. Because I know Alyssa's going, and we've got a whole bunch of friends that are going to WonderCon this year. Hopefully it'll be slightly better than my efforts at London Comic-Con last week. It's slightly difficult for me because when we do these hangouts, all the cons that I go to, they're done and dusted. So it's a bit boring to look at. Thankfully, when WonderCon is on, it will be up and running and in full tilt when we go on air. So hopefully we'll be getting some views of the crowds in Anaheim in 2 weeks' time. So looking forward to that. Right then, what's that? Sorry.
Go, Alyssa. Alyssa,
it depends on where I get to be located. I am staying at the Marriott, so I'm hopeful that I'll have a good view of what's happening in the courtyard, and if so, I hope to be able to get Nerdy Girl.
Yeah, Nerdy Girl. Megan.
Nerdy Girl and Megan, and the guy that runs the Google Plus Hangout, the San Diego.
Yes.
Mike.
Martin.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, listen. There's a whole host of people going to the con. I'm certain that we'll have somebody who'll be willing. I'm hoping that we'll get a whole bunch of people. So at the bottom of the screen, we'll have like live roving reports from every corner. It would be so brilliant if we could do that. So yeah, if you're going to WonderCon, I mean, I know Dan Berry's going. Tell us, and we'll see if we can get you on the hangout. But that's in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time for WonderCon.
For anybody that's thinking about doing that, I would recommend getting one of those little microphones. The microphones that you're working don't seem to they pick up a lot of ambient noise. So if you've got a little headphone mic thing, that might be a little bit fun.
There you go. Excellent. Right then, Alyssa, shall we talk about parking?
Parking. Okay, so I submitted I got an application, I send my email in on Friday and I get no response.
Okay.
And I'm talking to a couple of my friends and they submitted an email in on Saturday and they get no response. And somebody who's never submitted an email submits one on Sunday and she doesn't get a response. They're not responding. They were responding before. So since Friday, nobody has been getting an automatic response saying we received your ticket for the lottery. So we're thinking, what's going on? I sent it to, did any of these things that have been, these emails that have been put in since last Friday, were they even counted in the lottery? Is their mailbox full? Are they bouncing back? What's going on? So that's the current situation with parking.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, lovely. Is this Ace Parking slightly struggling again?
I don't know. I mean, I think their mailbox is full because they've got so many responses. But I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what the thing is. I'm going to change the subject here just briefly and have everybody tweet out to Mr. Shatner and wish him a happy birthday today.
Oh, I did not know. Okay, no, I'll do that. Yes, Captain.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. I had no idea. To be honest, the only reason I follow William Shatner on Twitter is just to see him take the rip out of the
Brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Those are brilliant.
Yeah. Always fun. Okay. Right. Let's see. Is there any other things that anyone wants to talk about? We did not have anybody want to join in on the Hangout. We had nobody say, it's a round table affair. You can join us if you like. Tell us, and you can jump in and say hi to us and say hi to everybody watching. No, nothing. Okay, fine.
Well, next week, or at WonderCon, if you get enough people, you may have people in the background tweet. You know, like you have one person here, but you'll see the other person behind them also with the screen. You know, you have a nice little like 360 view of it.
Yeah, if we have them back to back and do it like a mirror, get like a mirror effect, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Excellent. I think the only other thing that has come up very quickly. This is all going back to the links business. Very quickly, just to cover this. This is Dan Berry is absolutely determined to get on top of this. Basically saying that the rubber band site is for the hotel is hosted by Amazon Web Services. So this may be an attempt. It is to help with so it doesn't stop crashing, or try to help, because I think all we can basically do for any of these sites, from travel planners, for ACE parking, any site that tries to handle Comic-Con traffic has suffered massive hurdles over the last couple of years, and any efforts that they take to kind of help themselves, I completely understand and appreciate. So there we go. Let's see what we've got here.
I do have a couple of other things at some point.
Go for it. No, let's go for it now.
One thing I found out this week, since last year we had white lanyards and mine got a little dirty because it was around my neck and I perspire in a ladylike way. They can be washed. I successfully washed my lanyard. So everybody, take some time out before con season starts and wash your lanyards. Just saying.
Okay.
Unless you wear a new one every day like Mike does.
I swap and change. I'm all over with my lanyards. So yeah.
I have to bring my lanyards. I'll show you. I plan them out before the show. It's as important as packing my clothing away. I'm like, well, which lanyards am I going to wear which day?
I plan T-shirts. I don't plan lanyards. I plan which T-shirts I'm taking, which nerd T-shirts I'm taking. But
I do that too, but I have my lanyards as well.
Second thing was, if you don't, and I just did this for myself, if you don't have a secure password on your Comic-Con member ID site, you may want to take the time and change that now. It would be awful if somebody hacked into your member ID site, so that your member ID and was to cancel your membership to San Diego Comic-Con, which would revert all of your tickets. So that's just more of a cautionary note. WonderCon programming was released a few days ago, and they've got a lot of shows coming. iZombie, Last Chip, Warner Brothers is doing a presentation, Flash, Arrow, lots of great shows are coming up. The one that I, of course, am interested in, which is run right opposite of the Masquerade, is called, quote-unquote, No Tow Trucks Beyond Mars, which is basically a science... well, you know, because I'm the nerdy, the science nerd here. How they boldly go where there's no one around to fix it. Hear stories from the trenches of the heartbreaks, the close calls, and the real-life adventure solar system exploration. So that was one of them. But it looks, there's also going to be a spotlight on Len Wein and a Jack Kirby tribute, which has got
Jack Kirby.
Neil Adams, Darwin Cook, Fred Lente, Lente, Crystal Silkman, Len Wen, Paul Levin. From
That's
that you,
that's
yeah,
a,
that
that's a
had.
lineup.
Oh, that is a lineup. I mean, that's Mark, and it's Mark Evner. That's right before the talkback panel on Sunday afternoon. So
That should be cool. That should be cool.
Yeah.
There was a Jack Kirby King of the Return of the King panel that was done at London Super Comic Con with who was on there? It was Dave Gibbons. And that was Jonathan Ross. Jonathan Ross, because he was given a microphone, he basically took over. I'm a big fan of Jonathan, but you give him a stage and a platform, he'll run with it. We're hoping to try and get to Jonathan on one of the Hangouts, so that'd be rather interesting. So I won't be saying all of this while he's here, but while he's not here, I will say he knows how to run a room. You can understand why he keeps getting asked to come back to the Eisners. So. There's an art
to being a performer, and people who are up on stage, who've got it, are great. I don't have that skill, and hats off to you guys that do. You do, Leonard. One of the other panels that I'm personally interested in, Valiant 101, which is the Valiant comic line. So they're starting take you step by step through the origins of a lot of their heroes in the line, and I can't imagine that they won't be talking about some of the other Valiant movie, where Valiant is going in the next period of time. So that's one that hopefully could be forward looking.
Sure. Valiant are a publisher that are certainly on the rise, and they're getting a shed load of money being thrown at them. So no, you're absolutely right. Certainly someone to keep an eye on. We've got a question that's actually regarding, sorry to go back to hotel sales.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No worries.
This is from Charlotte Allen. Excellent question. The price list that was released has the URL with prelim in it, and it's only version 1. Is it likely that a second version will be released which at prices? This is possible. This has actually happened before, and it wasn't a case of changing of prices. It was more changing of details, changing of location elements. Even I think there was 1 year where they even just removed one of the hotels altogether, where something had dropped out in terms of contracting. It's just a way of keeping an eye and availability to update if required. So don't read too much into it. It's very possible they'll stick with the list as currently standing, but it's there. There is the option. So that's what that's all about. So, yeah. Thank you very much indeed for your question, Charlotte. Okay, has anyone got any last questions to send to us then? Because I'm paying attention to Twitter. I'm paying attention to all the other Q&As. I think we're pretty much all. I think we've covered everything. I think we're pretty much done. Any other comments?
So, was there enough blood? Was there enough blood in the last week's Walking Dead? What do we all think is going to happen this week tonight?
I don't know, but I'm looking forward to the last 2 episodes. Yeah. I think Rick shaving his beard off, though, I was a little worried about that. Because at first I thought he was just going to join their group, join Alexandra, and he was like, "Oh, I'm putting on a nice face," but now it could be like, "I'm putting on a nice face, but that's to throw you off." So I don't know. I'm worried here.
This is one of the few shows that we can kind of talk about on these Hangouts, because at least with the UK, we can kind of we see it a day after you guys. It's when we have programs like Gotham and when we like Arrow, where we've got weeks, if not months, to wait for. I mean, we haven't even got a date for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. New run yet, so we can't even talk about that.
On the forum, we're talking about the lanyard design for this year, and the big question is whether one of our forum, Joe Parra, suggested blood smeared, so we quickly vamped into blood smattered. So of course we're going to be doing a blood smattered lanyard this year in honor of The Walking Dead. So it's like
the circle be blood spatter? It should be blood spattered circles.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish there was some logo for travel planners where we could do that one too.
And parking.
Yeah, and parking. Oh, parking.
You two. Yeah, you're so mean. Okay. What else? There was something that just came in there, which I kind of spotted, which was of interest. Bear with me. Oh yes, I think this is. I think we'll wrap up on this. Oh, hang on a second. Leonard, do you think you can get the person in charge of guests? Compared to other cons, the guests have been lacking. I'm guessing this is regarding San Diego Comic-Con. Right. No, listen, people can have comments about the programs and the panels and what people's opinions are. I personally think that the sheer variety of panels at Comic-Con still gives it quite a draw. However, I can tell you right now that we will not be getting any guests from San Diego Comic-Con, from Comic-Con International. We've tried to organise in the past, where we've tried to organise the head of Artist Alley, for example, to join us. However, Comic-Con International would prefer one voice to come from their organisation, and that person is David Glanzer. So if we do get anyone from San Diego Comic-Con here on the Hangouts, it'll be David. I'm going to be asking again. I do, every once in a while, do get the chance to speak to him, but it is completely down to his schedule. Obviously, at this point, he's completely tied up with WonderCon, so he's a little bit busy. But I'll put the idea forward again, and we'll see if we can have another roundtable with David Glanzer joining us, because I think a number of people would love to hear and put questions to David, the voice of Con International. I will do my best to get David back on the Hangout. So thank you very much indeed for your comment. Yeah, this is the thing that I think we'll wrap up on. Just to, I know this is going to be a tough subject to talk about, and I apologise in advance. Zayn Malik has left the One Direction tour. It's a difficult thing to talk about. I'm sorry, I'm filling up a bit here. Hang on.
Leonard, lean in a little bit. I'll give you a hug. Here, lean. I'm hugging you.
Too kind. Yes, I'm certain that all Directioners would like to join me in wishing the cheating son of a bitch. No, I didn't say that out loud. That's terrible. Zayn Malik, yes, he has left the One Direction tour. What this actually means for the tour, and whether, well, it means that 5 become 4. What that means for San Diego and the first date of their North American tour, which is taking place on the first day of San Diego Comic-Con, nobody knows. But yeah, I think we'll wrap up this hangout by shedding one small tear for Zayn Malik leaving. There we go. That's the one small tear. Leaving the One Direction tour. Here, what a shame. Too bad. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. Thank you very much indeed for watching us here at the Hangout. We are back again next Sunday, same time. So do keep an eye on our Twitters. It's 6 o'clock here in GMT. Actually, that's a very good question, because I think our clocks go forward next week.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God, I'm going to have to do some math again. Okay.
Stay tuned for the times.
Yes. Yeah, listen, it's 6 o'clock GMT. That's it. That's all I can determine. But I will do the math and we'll work it out. So thank you very much indeed for your company. Once again, thanks to my guests. Alyssa, as always, thank you very much indeed for your time. Where can people find you online?
friendsofcci.com/forum for the hotel doc, which will be posted probably on Wednesday.
And of course, you can keep up to date with everything which Alyssa and the forum gets up to by following them on Twitter, Friends of CCI on the tweets. So excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed, Alyssa. Of course, you can also follow Alyssa Franks on Google Plus if you want to search for her name on Google. Yeah, I'm going to push Google Plus before it dies. Okay, people are saying it's dying soon. Oh man, listen, people are saying Google Plus dies. Right, I'm going to say this out loud. I'm going to say this to camera. People have been saying that Google Plus is dying. People are saying that Google Plus is dead. I have a large follow count that says that that's not the case. It's also one of the more interesting places I go to. It's the first place I go to on social media. Can I just say that even if they do scrap Google Plus, where am I supposed to go? Facebook? Forget that. Anyway. Oh, man. The only reason I go to Facebook is for the groups that I'm a member of. If I go to my news feed, I get bombarded with games requests, and I can't deal with that. Forget it. Anyway.
Yeah. I agree.
Michael, thank you very much indeed for joining us, sir. Where can people find you online?
Thanks for having me again. You can find me at Friends of CCI as well. You can find me at High Def Ninja. My forum name in both places is MLLNY, and it goes the same for Twitter.
Excellent.
But just don't find me at the Omni. You can't. You won't.
Don't pick the Omni.
Don't pick the Omni. Whatever you do.
If you spot somebody at the Omni this Comic-Con that looks like Michael, it's a complete coincidence. Okay, just to let you know. And you can find me if you just search in Google for Englishman in San Diego. You can find me on Google Plus at google.com/+ symbol and Englishman in San Diego. You can find me on Twitter at Englishman SDCC. You can pretty much find me anywhere. Just type into Google an Englishman San Diego, and that's where you'll find me. Thank you very much indeed for your time this evening, or wherever you are and whatever time frame it is for you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you again next week. Hopefully, you will have the hotel room that you're after, and best of luck with the hotel sale on Tuesday. Best of luck, everybody. From all of us.
Do you think next week you'll get actually to talk about WonderCon as opposed to hotels?
We can only hope. We can only hope. Okay, next week is going to be a WonderCon special. The next 2 weeks are going to be WonderCon specials, I suppose. All about WonderCon next week. Do take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.